I did. Okay, so we're going to rewind. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, perfect. Good afternoon and welcome to our first committee of the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. Ms. Axelson, please take roll.
Assembly members Anderson. Present. Carter. Present. Cole. Here. Hardy. Here. Howdigi. Here. Kasama. Miller. Here. Monroe Moreno. O'Neill. Here. Roth. Here. Torres Fawcett. Here. Yeager. Here. Urick. Here. Chair Marzola.
And I am here. Please mark Assemblymember Kasama absent excused. And can you hear me? Okay. Please mark Assemblymember Danielle Monroe Moreno present once she arrives. Welcome everyone who's here with us in Carson City, those joining us by video conference in Las Vegas, and anyone tuning in over the internet. Today we have introductions, adoption of committee policies, and presentation from committee staff and the Department of Business and Industry. Before we get started, I have several housekeeping announcements. The Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor is scheduled to meet at 1:30 p.m. sharp on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We will begin on time. Agenda may be taken in a different order than listed. 2 or more agenda items may be combined for consideration. An item may be removed from the agenda, or discussion of an item on the agenda may be delayed at any time. Members of the public may provide testimony in various ways, of which are listed on the agenda. The chair or member of the committee may request testifiers to submit documentation supporting their testimony. When testifying, please make sure to turn the microphones on to speak and off to listen. We have listeners and viewers in Las Vegas and online. We are recording this meeting, so it will be available on the legislature's website. If you have handouts for the committee, please provide 20 copies to the committee secretary prior to your testimony. In addition, exhibits and amendments may be submitted electronically as a PDF file to our committee manager no later than noon the business day before the meeting. Committee information is available on Nellis, which can be accessed through the legislature's website. You may also watch our meetings through Nellis or the legislature's YouTube channel. We ask that public comments be kept for 2 minutes so that everyone interested in speaking can be accommodated. And this also ensures that we can get through our agenda in a timely manner. Public comment may also be submitted in writing, either in addition to testifying or in lieu of. Written public comment may be submitted before, during, or up to 24 hours after the meeting adjournment. I expect courtesy and respect in our interactions, even if we may not agree. Lastly, please turn off all your electronics or silence them, especially your cell phones. And with that, we will start with our first agenda item. I would like to take a few minutes to introduce members of the committee and committee staff. Members, when you are introducing yourself, if you could please include the district that you represent, when you were first elected, and how many times you have served as a member of the Commerce and Labor Committee. And with that, let's start with Vice Chair Howdigi.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Assemblywoman Sandra Howdigi. I represent Assembly District 41. I was first elected in 2016, and I have served on Commerce and Labor every single session that I've been elected. I am the most senior member on this committee, and it is it is one of my favorite committees as I look at my other chair. But I have had the privilege of vice chairing this twice now and chairing it one time, and I'm very happy to be here for all the good work we will do.
Speaker.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Yeager. I represent Assembly District 9, which is in southwest Las Vegas. So if you know where Bishop Gorman is, that's kind of the heart. The new Bishop Gorman is the heart of my district. I started serving on this committee in 2019, so I was not on it my first session, but I served on it in 2019 and last session, I think, I don't know, 3 or 4 sessions now. It's hard to remember. But I do like this committee because we have the largest, most complicated bills, looking at the Division of Insurance in particular this session with a very, very large bill. So it's a lot of reading, but it's an honor to be back on this committee. I think we do a lot of really good work, and honored to serve under your leadership, Chair.
Thank you. Assembly Member Monroe Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and please forgive my tardiness. I am Assemblywoman Danielle Monroe Moreno. I represent Assembly District 1, which is primarily in the city of North Las Vegas with a small section of the city of Las Vegas. I was originally elected in 2016. I came to the legislature with the majority leader and the speaker, so we're kind of the old people in the building. This is, oh, and Brittany, oh, that's right, and Assemblywoman Miller, yeah, the 4 of us. This is my second session on Commerce and Labor, and I love serving under your leadership and look forward to the amazing things we're going to do this session.
Thank you for that. Next, we will go to Assembly Member Miller.
Thank you, Chair. I am Brittany Miller, and I represent Assembly District 5, also down in the southwest area of Las Vegas. It encompasses the lakes and parts of Summerlin. This is, as you know, I guess we're going for the 5-timers here. So this is my 5th term in the legislature, and I remember when I first came in, I was looking at speaker at the time and folks going, wow, this is their 5th term. They've done this 5 times. Now I'm looking at us like, wow, we've done this 5 times. And so this is my first time here on Commerce and Labor. And so I'm just really excited to be here and learn everything that I just know there's a lot to learn, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Assemblywoman Torres Fawcett.
Thank you, Chair. I'm really excited to be back on Commerce and Labor. This is my 4th legislative session, which makes me one of the most senior members, but not as senior as some of my colleagues. My first session on this committee was back in 2023, but I am excited to be back on here with Chair Marzola.
Assemblymember O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. I'm PK O'Neill, Assembly District 40, which is all of Carson City, all of Story County, and the eastern side of Washoe County up to the city limits of Sparks. This is my 4th time on Commerce and Labor. I was originally elected in 14, served on the 15th session, took a little holiday, came back for the 21, 23, and now 25 session. It's an honor to be with you, and I do enjoy Commerce and Labor. It's some very interesting issues that we bring forward here. So thank you, Chair.
Next, we'll go to Assemblymember Roth.
Thank you so much, Chair. My name is Erica Roth. I represent Assembly District 24. This is my first session and obviously my first time sitting on this committee, and I feel very grateful for the opportunity to serve here and to learn from all of the senior members who have been here for 5 sessions. So.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Toby Urich. I have the distinct privilege of representing Nevada's Assembly District 19, which encompasses South Henderson and the northeastern rural part of Clark County, Mesquite and Logandale and Overton and Moapa Valley. I was originally or first elected back in 2022, served last session, the 23 session, on this amazing committee under your leadership, Chair, and look forward to being here again.
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Anderson. I have the opportunity to represent District 30, which is basically the heart of the Truckee Meadows, mostly Sparks, a little bit of Reno. I was elected in 2021, and this is my first time serving on Commerce and Labor. I'm really excited to get a chance to work with you and the chair. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here.
Hello, thank you, Chair. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Lisa Cole, and I am an assembly person representing District 4, which is in Las Vegas, northwest corner of Las Vegas. I was first elected last year, so this is my first session and my first time on this committee. I'm very excited to be here. I am about 250 pages into the omnibus bill brought by the Division of Insurance, so I appreciate that introduction. Thank you.
And I'm Max Carter. I represent Assembly District 12 in Las Vegas, well, and part of Henderson. I've got the far east side of Las Vegas, base of Sunrise Mountain, around the corner, and have the far north side of Henderson up to Lake of Las Vegas. This is my second term. I was first elected in 22, re-elected last year, and this is my second time serving on this committee. And yeah, it's one of the best ones.
Good afternoon. I'm Assemblywoman Melissa Hardy. I represent Assembly District 22, which is Henderson, parts of Cadence, Central Henderson, a little bit of Las Vegas, around the 215 and Eastern. I was first elected in 2018, so this is my fourth session and my fourth time serving on Commerce and Labor. As a former small business owner, this was one of my priorities when I was first elected, and so I'm glad to be back here for a fourth term and serving with our wonderful chair and these members, so thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to all the members. I look forward to serving with you all this legislative session, and I'm honored to once again be chair. I represent Assembly District 21. This is my third legislative session. I was elected in 2020. This will be my second time serving as chair. It is by far my favorite committee, so here we are. All the topics that we cover in this committee is very, very important to our state. Topics relating to labor and employment issues, regulation of occupations and professions, and insurance, just to name a few. The issues covered in this committee is some of the most important issues that we face. My goal as chair is to create an environment of professionalism and fairness. I expect everyone to treat each other with courtesy and respect, even if we may not agree. I do ask that everyone keep an open mind. And with that, I have the pleasure to introduce an amazing staff that keeps us going, and we could not do this without them. I will start with our committee manager. His name is Logan Service. He is a proud United States Army veteran and a lifelong Nevadan who earned his Bachelor of Science in Public Health. During his military career, he developed a passion for serving others, which inspired his dedication to improve community health and well-being. Now serving as the committee manager for Commerce and Labor, Logan combines his military experience, leadership skills, and education to support critical legislative processes and makes a meaningful impact in his community. Logan, where are you? Next, we have Julie Axelson. She is one of 3 committee secretaries for Commerce and Labor. Where are you, Julie? She is participating in her 6th legislative session with 2 sessions in judiciary and 4 in commerce and labor. She holds 2 master's degree, one in European history from the University College of London and another in academic advising from Kansas State University. Julie is married and has 2 children, ages 8 and 10. Her family enjoys spending time at the beach, whether in Santa Cruz or Lake Tahoe. She is currently working towards her teaching license to teach high school history. Denise DiMarzo, there you are, has been a proud resident of Carson City for the past 35 years, relocating from the Bay Area in the 1990 when her manufacturing company moved to the area. In 1995, she embraced an opportunity to work with children by joining the Carson City School District, where she dedicated 25 years of service before retiring 3 years ago. Denise has 1 daughter who attended school in Carson City from kindergarten through grade 12 and now resides in Las Vegas. In her free time, she enjoys traveling, cooking, and training her 2 mini golden doodle puppies. Next, we have Cynthia Ihijaraki. Where are you? Did I mispronounce that? I'm gonna learn. Cynthia is the 3rd committee secretary for the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. This is her 2nd legislative session. During the interim, she works in the fiscal department at the Office of the Attorney General. Welcome, Cynthia. George Wallen is serving in his first legislative session as a committee assistant. He brings a diverse background in church ministry and extensive experience working for the state of Illinois and Washington in the fields of education and human services. His career includes serving as the executive director of 2 nonprofit church and social service agencies. For the 83rd session, George is dedicated to supporting the committee legislators and their administrative staff to ensure a smooth and successful legislative session. Where are you? Then we have Margie Peslov-Thomas. She will be our committee policy analyst. She has been with the research division of the Legislative Council Bureau since 1998. This is her 7th session as the policy analyst for Commerce and Labor Committee. She has a master's degree in public policy and administration from Baylor University. Welcome, Margie. Our committee counsel, Sam Quest, joined the LCB in 2018, originally from Illinois. He's a graduate of Illinois State University and University of Illinois College of Law. He previously served as committee counsel for the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor for both the 2021 and the 2023 legislative session. Welcome back. Our other committee counsel is Daniel Pinado. Daniel obtained his law degree from Loyola Law School after career in aerospace program management. His subsequent practice in constructional defect litigation, representing both plaintiff homeowners and defendant contractors, but with different firms at different times, of course. While at LCB, he has supported the Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor and various interim legislative committees. In addition, we have Janet Coons, Research Policy Assistant. LCB will be assisting our committee this session. Janet, are you in here? Oh, okay. Oh, I know. Finally, we have Sydney Gamer. Sydney. She is my right-hand person, also known as my attaché de session. Sydney is a lifelong Nevadan, originally from Las Vegas, who moved to Reno to earn her bachelor's and master's of public health from the University of Nevada, Reno. She has a background in public service, including working in public health preparedness during the COVID-19 pandemic. After shifting careers to work on campaigns during the 2024 election cycle, Sydney is now joining the Nevada State Legislature as my personal attaché. Welcome, Sydney. Thank you again to all the staff. Please know we could not do this without you, and I am excited to work with you this session. And with that, we will get started. Our first order of business is the adoption of the committee policies, which are posted in the legislature's website, which I hope everyone has read at this point. These policies serve to complement the Assembly standing rules and the joint standing rules that we adopted on Monday in the full Assembly. I do want to mention a couple of them. Let's make sure to ensure a proper orderly flow of any discussion that we are having in our committee. So committee members, please make sure to be recognized by the chair before you speak. This includes all questions, comments, and requests for follow-up questions. Any member who votes in favor of passing a bill or adopting an amendment in the committee should advise the chair of any change in his or her vote before the vote in the full assembly. Requests for equipment for presentation must be submitted to the committee manager no later than 12 p.m. on the business day prior to the meeting. If testifying using a PowerPoint presentation, please provide an electronic version in a PDF format to the committee manager no later than 12 p.m. the business day prior to the meeting. If video conferencing from Las Vegas or any other state, please notify the committee manager as soon as possible, but no less than 1 day prior to the meeting. Testimony and public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person. Are there any questions, committee members? I don't see any. I will take a motion.
So moved, Madam Chair. Move for the adoption of the rules.
I have a first from Vice Chair Howdigy and a second from Assembly Member Danielle Monroe Moreno. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next, our committee policy analyst, Margie Thomas, will present our committee brief.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Margie Thomas for the record. The committee brief has been uploaded to Nellis, so I'll just walk you through it really quickly. On page 1 is the committee activity during the 2023 legislative session. I'd like to note that this committee considered a total of 117 bills and resolutions and was the second busiest committee last session in the Assembly. On page 3 is the committee jurisdiction. On page 4 begins the policy issues that may arise during this session, but the list is not limited to others that may come before the committee. On page 5 are relevant audits and other reports. If anyone would like a copy of these and you're unable to access them on the internet, please let me know. I'll make sure to get those to you. Finally, on page 7 is committee staff contact information. And finally, if any members need assistance with research requests, please feel free to reach out to me if it's an individual request. If it is a request through the committee, those do need to go through the chair. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Committee members, anyone have any questions? Next, we have a presentation from the Department of Business and Industry. Joining us today is Director Dr. Christopher Sanchez, Nikki Haig, Deputy Director, Office of Nevada Boards, Commission and Council Standards, Perry Fagan, Deputy Director, Northern Nevada, and Marcel Sharir, Deputy Director, Southern Nevada. Welcome. Thank you for being here with us today, and you may begin when you're ready. Please remember to state and spell your name for the record.
Christopher Sanchez, Director, Department of Business and Industry, Kristopher Sanchez. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. It's great to be here and be first up, I guess, and of all the folks that will be coming before you during this session. So thank you for that opportunity. A couple of things on the presentation. So because business and industry is so vast, we have a presentation that's quite a bit lengthy and more detailed than we'll be able to cover in this hearing. We want to be expeditious with your time. We know that there's a lot that everybody has to do. So we'll hit the highlights, and we are, of course, available for questions, as all of our administrators are as well. Many of them are behind me here in the room, and we have others that are down south in the hearing room at, I think it's the Building 1. So with that, I'll get started. I'll dive right in. So Department of Business and Industry, we have 12 regulatory divisions with 61 boards and commissions. We have the occupational licensing boards, which I know will be a topic of a lot of conversations this session. The occupational licensing boards were transferred to business and industry back in the 23 session with SB 431. So they are already with business and industry. We have 773 employees, so that's a pretty large agency. And we have about 602 licenses and permits that we issue annually. If you also include the training that we do through our various divisions and the inquiries that we get through our various divisions, it's safe to say that we touch almost 1 million Nevadans annually. And of course, per household, I think there's probably not a household that we don't interact with in Nevada. So our role is very important, and all of us at Business and Industry take that very seriously. We are blessed to have a dedicated staff, very seasoned staff, and our administrators have been around, many of them, for a long time in the industries in which they represent. And I feel blessed to have them on the team and rely on them heavily, as I've been in my position for a year, and I'm still trying to figure out where everything is in the agency. So my priorities as director coming in, there's several things that really kind of are important to me. One is making sure that all of our staff have what they need to be successful. And the other is that we are expeditious with what we do and diligent in responding to our constituents and making sure that we serve them well in every opportunity, with however that may be in our agency. Because of that, I very early have focused on what I'm calling right-sizing the Department of Business and Industry. The agency, I think, over time has not been resourced the way that it needs, especially with respect to some of the staffing, and you will see in the GovRec budget that we have some staffing that we've requested, including HR. So I mentioned we have 775 staff. We do not have a single in-house HR person in our agency. And if we are expected and we want to serve our employees well, we need to have an HR team. I'd also like to break down barriers and silos within the agency. And so where we have, like IT, for instance, spread out across the various divisions, we are looking to bring those different units together into the Business and Industry Department umbrella and make sure that we can then be more diligent with our funding. When we are acquiring software, we don't want to have any silos that is broken up from agency to agency. We would like to have the ability to bring everyone together to get the software that we need that will work for multiple agencies, and of course, negotiate a better price in the process because we are working with an aggregated intent. That's just a few examples of some of the things that we're working on at Business and Industry at the Director's Office in terms of the organization. The other is the realignment of boards and commissions. And I know will be a lot that will be discussed about that. And we have Deputy Director Nikki Haig here that will talk a little bit about that here in a minute. Moving on to slide 5. We have 4 core functions at Business and Industry: commerce and capital regulation, community development, labor and workforce protection, and consumer protection and advocacy. We will be touching on all 4 of those functions in today's presentation. I think it's probably the best breakdown that we have in illustrating what it is that we do in the department. Moving on to slide 6, you'll see the pie charts with respect to our budget. I'd like to call out that in fiscal year 26, we have about 8.3% of our overall budget that's general fund. We are a fee-based agency, and 3.4%, it'll be 8.9% in FY27. Again, for the record, to repeat that, fiscal year 26, 3.4% general funded, and fiscal year 27, 8.9% general funded. The reason I highlight this is that it's a little different than some of how the other agencies are funded. We are cost allocated as a director's office amongst our 12 divisions. We cost allocate our services to those divisions. So we have a minimal general fund impact, but we are very much responsible for what I consider taxpayer dollars, and that our fees come in through licensing, and so we need to be equally as diligent about making sure our services are up to the expectation, regardless of where those funds originate from. On page 7, we have our overall breakdown. I wanted to provide further detail on the general fund portions of our budget, and you'll see there the department itself. Boards and commissions, you'll see the 0 in FY27. The reason that we've put that in there, and my mic sounds like it's going in and out. Everybody hear me okay? The reason we have FY27 zeroed out is that we anticipate with the passage of SB 78 that we'll be able to take a similar approach to how we fund the boards, the occupational licensing boards, Title 54 boards. And because of the ability for us to cost allocate the expenses, we will no longer need to draw for the general fund in FY27 to support Nikki's position and any position, frankly, related to the Title 54 boards and commissions. Housing Division, Real Estate, and Labor are the other departments within our agencies within our department that have general fund. And today, this is on slide 8, we will provide a little bit of background on a couple of bills that one was already mentioned, which is the AB 74, Department of Insurance, the omnibus bill. And then the other is AB 38 from the Nevada Housing Division. And we will have a little bit more to follow during the presentation on those. Slide 9, the Director's Office. A couple of key functions there. So I mentioned we're centralized administration. So we provide all the back-end support. We intend to provide greater HR support. We have IT, we have fiscal, those core functions that make everything else work is what we're responsible for in the Director's Office for all of our 12 independent agencies. We have Small Business Resource Advocacy. You'll hear from Marcel Scherer, Deputy Director for the South, and he's responsible for that. Consumer Protection, Business Registration, and Enforcement of Deceptive Trade Practices. We have the Consumer Affairs Unit within the Director's Office. This unit receives over 3,500 calls annually. These are folks calling in from the community that have face challenges and need some remedy. Could be that they were paid for a service and didn't get that service. And so we open up cases, we investigate to see what happens, and we will refer and involve a board if we need to, or another branch of the government if we need to. But the point is that our doors are open, we are available, and if folks have any issues, we encourage them to reach out to us, and we seek to solve those problems. We have minority advocacy and outreach. You'll hear a little bit more about that here as the presentation progresses as well. On slide 10, we have the New Markets Jobs Act. And the way that this works is that insurance companies receive a credit against the Nevada insurance premiums tax. They then invest those funds into a community development entity. Those are specifically focused investments to our most at-risk communities. And over the last decade, from 2013 to today, we have served about 60 companies through that model with investments that are employing people and launching private businesses in our most at-risk communities. Successful program, and we have staff that is responsible for that program that we can answer any specific questions today as well. On slide 11, we have our industrial revenue bonds. And I think everybody's most familiar with this program because of the Bright Line in Southern Nevada, the high-speed rail. In the context of that specific project, California had $1.8 billion in bonding that they provided, and through business and industry. This predated my tenure. This goes on to, I think, 2018 initially, was $625 million. Keep in mind that this program is in alignment with the Governor's Office of Economic Development and the goals for economic development for Nevada, in that these are specifically focused for industrial facilities, research and development facilities, commercial, civic, and cultural enterprises, accredited education institutions, and healthcare facilities. And I'd like to turn it over for slide 12 to Marcel Scherer for the business and advocacy assistance.
For the record, Madam Chair, Assembly members, Marcel, M-A-R-C-E-L, Scherer, S-C-H-A-E-R-E-R. And what you have in front of you is this wonderful hub that we call the Nevada Business Resource Hub. We connect, we educate, we innovate, and provide resources through this hub, and is a convenient one-stop place to access information, resources, and tools that can help any business owner and entrepreneur in the state of Nevada. And it contains the roadmap, this wonderful, wonderful interactive tool that basically is a guide to starting and growing a business in Nevada with over 400 links. And I want to make a note here that those 400 links may point to agencies, but those are connectors, doers, facilitators out there to help the small business sector, to help entrepreneurs, all those dreamers and doers that need to start a business. So the ecosystem chart is also part of this, and you have it there. And we call it the Nevada Business Support Ecosystem Chart. It's a high-level orientation of doing business in Nevada. It highlights federal, state, and local government resources. You can see to your left that there are some key activities. We do quarterly meetings. We have the Nevada Small Business Resource Fair as part of the National Small Business Week in May. We do radio shows, podcasts. We have a newsletter weekly. And we are also heavily engaged with Shop Small Nevada on a Small Business Saturday, which happens to be this year on November 19th. So it's just a wonderful activity. So when it comes to business development, please understand we strive to be the leading point of contact for anything and everything to starting, managing, and growing a business in Nevada. The next slide is consumer help, and that is for consumers and minorities, and we do assistance and advocacy. So the Nevada Consumer Affairs, as you can see over there, anything related to deceptive practices and fraud is brought to the attention of this wonderful team of 5 individuals. They have recovered, as you can see over there, over $1 million in 2024. And as the director has mentioned, we have over 3,500 complaints in a year. We also have the Ombudsman of Consumer Affairs for minorities, and the person representing that is Miriam Higgerson, and she provides education, outreach, and service programs for minority groups. A lot done also in that area when it comes to recovery for consumers in 2024. And lastly is the Nevada Commission on Minority Affairs. They provide a voice to minority communities. Thank you.
Nikki Haig for the record, Deputy Director of the Office of Boards, Commissions, and Council Standards. It's NIKKIHAAG. The Nevada Office of Boards, Commissions, and Council Standards license over 267,000 licensees throughout the state of Nevada. The office was established through SB 431 during the 2023 legislative session. This legislation grants the office the oversight of the 37 Title 54 occupational and licensing boards. However, SB 431 did not provide the necessary funding or staff to fully support these efforts. As a result, SB 78 will build upon SB 431, aiming to enhance the board and commission's accountability and transparency, streamline operations, reduce redundancy, and alleviate administrative costs and burdens to our licensees. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Perry Fagan, Deputy Director with Business and Industry, PERRYFAIGIN. I'll be taking you through some of the other divisions with the department, and we're going to start with the Division of Industrial Relations on page 15. Industrial Relations is our regulatory agency that handles workplace safety and worker protections in the state of Nevada. We have about 2,800 licensees that are basically through the mechanical section, which are for elevators, escalators, boilers, pressure vessels, and then the other licensees are around photovoltaic, which is our solar installers, and the asbestos folks that are out there removing asbestos from old buildings and such. In mechanical compliance, as I said, they take care of all of the escalators, elevators. We also have mine safety. Mine Safety conducts workplace safety inspections of all the mines in the state of Nevada, and also they operate and do training for the thousands and thousands of miners that are working in these areas. Last year, they did over 1,500 training sessions with different miners out there. We also have Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the OSHA. OSHA conducts targeted inspections in workplaces around safety standards and making sure that those safety standards are upheld, and we regulate through the state program, not the federal program, but we do take guidance from the federal program, but we have our own state program that we operate. Safety Consultation and Training Section, that is SCATS. SCATS provides free safety consultation for any business out there that would ask for it. They do multiple training sessions on a weekly basis provide online training as well as in-person training. If anybody's ever needed or wanted a OSHA 10 or an OSHA 30 card, that's one of the places that you can go to get it, and you can do it free of charge. And then we have our workers' compensation folks and the WCS section that handles the claims that are coming through in our card system technology that handles the workers' compensation claim part. And then also we do have several other pieces to that as well where we can assist people with those claims and making sure that they're moving forward. If you move on to the next page, 16, you'll see there are some numbers there for you to review with regard to what that division is currently doing. And as you can see, since 2020, those numbers have been moving up. Moving on to the Nevada Housing Division. Nevada Housing Division licenses about 650 plus businesses and individuals throughout the state of Nevada. This is primarily in the manufactured housing realm of what we do at Nevada Housing Division. We also currently are running through about $1 billion in ARPA funds for the Home Means Nevada initiative, which many of you are probably very well aware of. And so we were moving those monies out. I believe I heard earlier it's upwards of about 30%, roughly, plus somewhere in there of those funds that are out the door already. And yes, we do anticipate hopefully having all that done and completed by the end of '26. In addition to that, you'll notice on here, there's a little asterisk at the bottom that there's a general fund here component to this, and that has to do with the supportive housing development and the Windsor Park project. 43 million of this is through the supportive housing development, and thank you, Assemblymember Monroe Marino. In addition, we have AB 38, which is going to bring some changes in language around manufactured structures, as well as some changes with the recovery fund and for those that are experiencing issues with repairs, and then clarifying some language in 118B for inspections on manufactured homes as well. So most of this is cleanup type language in AB 38.
Marcel Scherer for the record. The next slide, 19, is the taxi authority and is a regulatory agency charged with oversight of Clark County. And again, it's important to point that they ensure safety, welfare, and convenience of the public. You can see there some of the key functions with the data, driver permitting, vehicle inspections, enforcement routine, and the challenges. The annual number of rides have gone flat, and that's the reflection that you have on the right is the chart that reflects that. As you can see, after the pandemic, things went up, but have to remain flat, and they will probably continue to be that way. Next slide is our NTA, the Nevada Transportation Authority, and they regulate the transportation industry, which includes charter buses, limos, movers, tow cars, tour buses, non-emergency medical transportation, employer van pools, airport transfer services, special services, warehouse permits, transportation network companies, and autonomous vehicles statewide, as well as taxi cabs outside Clark County. So current activities, as much as they do for the TA, they process also driver permits, administer new carrier applications, oversee administrative and enforcement hearings, do audits and inspections, enforcement of Nevada laws. And the challenges of this particular agency, of course, is inadequate technology, facing the increase of illegal transportation operators, and the significant regulatory gap in rural Nevada.
Perry Fagan again for the record. Moving on to the next slide, the Division of Insurance. Division of Insurance licenses over 265,000 companies and individuals to handle insurance products throughout the state of Nevada. Their insurance division is there for protection of consumers and ensuring solvency with regard to regulation in what is a $25 billion insurance industry for the state of Nevada. Please also note here that about $600+ million a year comes through to the general fund through the insurance division as part of the premium tax that comes into the state. As you know, there are challenges currently within the industry regarding auto insurance, wildfires, and other types of insurances. So I know that we will be discussing these as we move throughout the session and talking about them. In addition, on the next slide is AB 74, which is going to be looking at the insurance division as a whole to try to just change some language in there and bring some changes and bring it into compliance with the National Association of Insurance Commissioners and to model after that with the regulations. Moving on to the mortgage lending division, licensing over 12,000 businesses and licensees throughout the state of Nevada. As you can see in looking at the numbers of licensees, there's just under 10,000 mortgage loan originators. These are individuals. Mortgage companies as well that you see here, registered offices, and then escrow companies as well. Some of the challenges that you will come across and that we have been experiencing with regard to mortgage lending are the economic uncertainty that we see sometimes within the division and the ups and downs in interest rates and how that changes things. As well as the tech-driven evolution of things. We've been very fortunate to have been able to recently roll out a new piece of technology that is helping us to be able to move forward with our licenses. On to the next slide, which is financial institutions. They license financial institutions throughout the state of Nevada and making sure that they are compliant in their financial environment as well as promoting economic development. Just under 2,000 licenses are currently out there, and that's for us to be able to handle and do annual examinations of depository, non-depository, and fiduciary licenses. Last year, we had 418 complaints with about 196 investigations that are completed. This is one of the sections I just want to touch on really quickly here is with regard to the staffing here. These are financial examiners. Currently, and we do know that there's a common class restructure going on, but currently there are 5 different levels of financial examiners that work under FID. And it's really important to note that this is, these staff take time to train. They don't just come in as a financial examiner 3, 4, or 5. You have to start at the bottom, move up, learn the industry and how it works. They get swiped from us pretty regularly by other agencies, outside companies, and so on. So it's important to know that we're trying to address this, and we're hoping that you'll help us through that this session as we are looking to continue to try to provide the services that are needed in the ability to go out and examine different areas within the company.
Chris Sanchez, for the record, just want to add to that. One of the things that we're focused on is the new technologies, blockchains and cryptocurrency, making sure that the financial institutions division has the appropriate skilled staff to do the audits that they need to do. We are working, with administration on what those positions look like. They're positions that are very competitive in the private sector, folks that have that training. Frankly, they're positions that command a high salary. But we need those folks in our agency to do the job that we've been tasked to do. And so we're working with the administrator for FID as well as with administration on getting that mix right of staff. So you will see as the session progresses, in reference to these specific positions, they're actually referred to as IT staff in the GovRec. It's because we do not have an actual title for these folks yet. The new technology, new titles need to be created in the state service for folks with that sort of background and expertise. So I just wanted to flag that for the committee as we move forward.
Perry Fagan for the record. Moving on to the Office of Labor Commissioner. The Office of Labor Commissioner is the principal wage and hour private employment regulatory agency for the state of Nevada. They also license private employment agencies and professional employer organizations. Currently, that number sits at about 340 plus. This is a general funded agency, one of the few within the Department of Business and Industry. And one of the things I want to highlight for you here on the slide as you're looking at this is in the center of the page is the increase in the wage claims. And you can see over the last several years, this number has jumped quite significantly. So they are taking on a lot more wage claims and complaints and issues with regard to things that are happening within our businesses and communities and people being paid correctly. Additionally, also too, something that I want to just bring to your attention here is AUA reporting, which is around our apprenticeship program. That was brought out of last session. That reporting just started, and so in the future you'll start to see reporting on the apprenticeship numbers and what's going on there. So just know that that will be coming down the line a ways for you. Moving on to the next slide is our real estate division. The real estate division currently licenses over 41,000. These are folks that are real estate sales agents and brokers, timeshares, salespeople, as well as property management in those areas as well. They license and regulate these professionals throughout the state and provide services to stakeholders also in common interest communities. And something of note here is the Ombudsman's Office for Common Interest Communities. Notice some of those numbers there. There's over 3,600 HOAs throughout the state of Nevada, representing over 608,000 units. This is a big job, especially with all these folks in the real estate community out there. So we're obviously coming up with some challenges here, but keeping in mind that about 20% of the licensees reside outside of Southern Nevada. And one of the things that we're hoping to be able to do is to be able to possibly maybe reopen our office up here in Northern Nevada, which has been closed for some time now. But we're working on that. And so far right now, everybody also has to keep in mind that we have to go through Las Vegas for all of those activities at this point.
Chris Sanchez for the record. Next slide is 27, the Employment Management Relations Board. The board serves as the administrative court resolving disputes between local governments and employee organizations. Just like to point out who they serve: 212 local and state government entities, 157 employee organizations, 5 labor organizations, 17,000 state government employees, and 88,000 local government employees, with 271 bargaining units.
Marcel Scherer for the record. Madam Chair, Assembly members, before your questions, this is the last slide of our deck. And this is a dedicated group of individuals, the Nevada Attorney for Injured Workers. They represent injured workers claiming rights under the Nevada Industrial Insurance Act. Services are provided at no cost. They can also represent the claimant on appeals to the district court or the Nevada Supreme Court. And as you can see there, the agency also provides procedural advice and general information. Current activities, and then you see the metrics there. In fiscal year 24, 937 cases. And of course, the last bullet point is the information calls from the public. 1,365 phone calls over that period of time. Thank you.
Chris Sanchez for the record, and just to wrap up our presentation, I think the common theme that you saw was an investment in technology and people. In order for us to do what we do, we have to have the systems to do it and do it well, and we've got to have bodies and seats to be able to deliver on those services and those promises we make to our constituents. And so we have sought to make sure that our folks are trained. We are going through our entire organization, all 775 folks, to make sure that all their job descriptions are up to date, that everybody's got the training that they need, and that we are ensuring that we have built a culture that is one that will contribute to good service, great service, and the success of each of our individual agencies and our department as a whole. So thank you for your time. We're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, and thank you for being here today in your presentation. We have several questions for you. We will start with Vice Chair Howdigy.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you for being here and having your agencies here as well. I've probably worked most closely with your state agency in my personal capacity and also in my professional legislative capacity, and so I just want to say thank you. Every division that I've had the honor and privilege of working with has been great, from the real estate division to Division of Industrial Relations, insurance, labor, so I want to say thank you and give kudos to all of those divisions because they do great work. I do have a question, though. I want to talk a little bit about your small business assistance programs. You were sitting in our earlier committee, in the many committees, and there was lots of discussion around services that the state offers for small businesses in our state. So can you go a little bit more in depth in that? I went through your website, and it's pretty robust. There is there's many links that direct small businesses to various resources, but I'd like to get more information as to like what kind of resources do you offer micro businesses and small businesses in our state, and is there that opportunity? Because I did see some opportunity for one-on-one, not necessarily maybe through B&I, but you would direct them to resources where they could get one-on-one assistance. So could you walk us a little bit through that? Because I know you do good work.
And we do good work, indeed. It's a massive amount of connectors throughout the state.
Please make sure to state and spell your name for the record.
Thank you. Marcel Scherer for the record. The roadmap captures, I think, perhaps where you're going. It's a massive amount of resources, information, and tools there. And those basically point and click access those resources. So I think it is important to understand that we are connecting with agencies and we are also connecting with people. And those connectors are the ones who facilitate and help individuals. Doesn't matter if it is technical assistance, if it is a complaint, if it is someone approaching those agencies for support and guidance. But that's the robust ecosystem that we have created, in addition, of course, to the dedication of our team members who will receive phone calls. We listen to their needs. We basically do a pre-assessment and then channel that information to other agencies. And it's not just, here is a phone call, call this agency. We also facilitate, we are the bridge, contacting them, placing an email and connecting them and driving them to the right resources.
May I follow
Through
up
the,
on that, Chair?
oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Director.
Through the chair to the Assembly member, one of the things
You can go direct.
Thank you. Chris Sanchez for the record. One of the things that I think is worth noting is that we, in our GovRec budget request, have asked for an additional couple of staff for our PIO. We have one PIO for 12 agencies, 61 boards and commissions, and the great work that Deputy Director Marcel Scherer is doing. We need to get the word out about what we do, and we need to be able to do that more strategically. And really, our current PIO is just responding and is not proactive enough because it's just one individual for all of the responsibility. But we are working on enhancing what we're doing. We have the roadmap, as you can see in the slide. We're actually trying to map that with GIS software, so you can go into a zip code and actually look and track the services that are provided to small businesses per zip code in the state. We see a lot of great potential there. We have a research unit that we were putting together in the director's office that one of the first tasks that they have is to do that. I think if there's an opportunity, it's aligning the frankly, siloed nature of some of the support services we have across the state, and making sure that we kind of eliminate those silos and that we're all kind of coming together at the state level to help support our small businesses. And one of the things that Marcel has been really good at doing here in his tenure at B&I is to get everything under one umbrella, one website, and one-stop shop, if you will, so that folks know what resources are out there. We don't provide a lot of the services. Our role is making sure that we convene all those services and can point people in the right direction.
Another question? Assemblymember Monroe Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think you were in a meeting earlier today during the joint fiscal committees, and there were some comments made about the time it takes to get a license in our state. I'm not sure if those comments were accurate, so I'd like to ask your office, what is the average time for license and permits? And then a follow-up, what are you doing to address those timeframes?
Chris Sanchez for the record, and thank you for the opportunity to address the comments that were made in the previous meeting today. As I'd mentioned, it's very important to us that we are responsive to all of our constituents. The item that was referenced earlier, as near as we can tell, is 2 years old, and that was coming out of the pandemic when that was an issue, when we had backlogs. We no longer have backlogs. And we can follow up with the exact data for every single division. I wish I had all that in my memory with the exact response times for all 12 of our divisions, but I don't. But we don't have any backlogs, I can tell you that, and we are making sure that we are responsive. And so, short of having everybody come up and report out, which would take a while, if it's okay with the chair and with the committee, we'll follow up with a report that tells you where we are in all of our agencies with response times.
With the chair's permission, I would love to receive that information for the committee. I think the committee members would like to see that.
If you can provide that information to the committee secretary.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I have a second question? On page 24, the Financial Institutions Division, does that division ever work in conjunction or assist with the Federal Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Sandy O'Loughlin for the record. That's SANDY-O''LAUGHLIN, Commissioner for the Financial Institutions Division. The division does not work with the CFPB directly. We do receive a lot of communications from the CFPB, but we do not, I've not had them contact us for anything.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Committee members, any additional questions? Yes. Speaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a question. I just wanted to thank you for all that you guys do. This is the second time I was at the Ways and Means pre-session budget hearings, and I'm always amazed at how many divisions you have. And I think, that's, you have everyone here today, but you really do make our state work. And so any way that we can be helpful, we'd like to be helpful. I wanted to particularly recognize Victoria Carrion of the Industrial Labor Division, because I had a conversation with her last night at the very nice reception where I think your whole team was there too, which was great to talk to folks. But just wanted to give her a shout out for that heat regulation that I thought at some point was going to outlast all of us in this legislative building. So it was a long time coming, and I know it was a lot of work, and I think it was a testament to what we're able to accomplish when we work with one another. So I didn't want to lose an opportunity to recognize her and thank her for that hard work, because it took a very long time to get to consensus. And to be honest, I didn't think we were ever going to get there, but we did. And I think mostly everyone was happy with where that landed at one of our last legislative commission meetings. So thank you for your work on that, and we look forward to working together with you this session.
Chris Sanchez for the record. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate that. We've got a lot to cover this session, as I know all of you do as well. And like I started in my remarks earlier, I'm blessed with a competent and great team. It's been fun to come into an organization that has such strong leadership.
Assemblymember O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. AB 38, you discussed it about, it's regarding manufactured housing, if I'm not mistaken. Will that actually would deal with who is licensed or able to work on manufactured housing and what the scope of their work can be? And I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking is I remember this past summer through just about a year ago, I had a constituent who had a plumbing problem. They got a person that was licensed to work on a manufactured house, correct the interior part, but that didn't fix the problem, and she got another company that he said he couldn't do it. You have to get somebody else that's able to work outside. And when it still didn't work, or she had problems, it became a finger pointing of who is responsible for it. Does 38 deal with any of those issues, or is there a way to address that?
Perry Fagan for the record. Thank you for the question, Assemblyman O'Neill. If you don't mind, I'm going to phone a friend here. I had to do this earlier as well.
I'll tell you, I phoned many friends on it because she was very insistent about it.
Good afternoon. Steve Acroth, S-T-E-V-E, A-I-C-H-R-O-T-H, Administrator of the Nevada Housing Division for the record. Thank you for the question, Assemblymember O'Neill. Specifically to your question, no, it does not. However, I'd be more than happy to work with you and talk about that particular situation and see if there's some opportunity to rectify that if possible.
We talked about it several times. Like, I not only phoned a friend, I think I lost friends over that whole issue. And I think she voted for my opposition or my opponent. But I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a glimmer of hope.
Committee members, any other questions? I don't see any. Thank you so much for being with us today and your presentation.
Thank you.
I will now open up for public comment. Please address your remarks to issues that fall within the jurisdiction of this committee. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per person. Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to make public comment? I don't see anyone in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anybody on the line?
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working, but we do not have any callers to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you. Committee members, are there any questions before I adjourn? I don't see any. That concludes our meeting for today. Our next meeting will be Friday, the 7th? February 7th at 1:30 p.m. This meeting's adjourned.